What's up, YouTube? This is your boy John from the Jersey Shore, and I am back with you today to give you my review of the 1988 film Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Is that too much? If you're already a subscriber to my channel, welcome back. It's good to see you guys again. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, come on, get that out of the way. Click the subscribe button, ring the bell, join the Project Ellsworth family. Return of the Living Dead Part 2 was written and directed by Ken Widerhorn, starring James Karen, Tom Matthews, and Michael Kenworthy. So Return of the Living Dead 2 begins with a dude in the military. He's driving a military truck down the road. It's storming out, of course it is. And he's got a whole truckload of what they refer to as Easter eggs in the back of his vehicle. He's in the front of the truck. He's driving through this crap. It's some bouncy, rocky terrain. And he's up there lighting a joint, basically trying to give you the impression that this dude doesn't care and he is not paying attention to what's going on around him. So this doofus eventually runs over a little bit of rough terrain. A bunch of the Easter eggs fly out of the back of the truck. Of course they do. One of the Easter eggs actually goes off the road. Of course it does. And that thing winds up in the sewer system.
A freak accident.
So now we meet Jesse. He's played by Michael Kenworthy. Jesse's a little boy. We meet him and we meet these two little punk bully kids. Those three are screwing around down near the sewer system and they come across the missing Easter egg. After they find the missing Easter egg, they manage to turn on a light inside of it and they see through the glass top that there actually is a body inside of this Easter egg. Needless to say, seeing this body inside of this tank scares these kids, so they just run off. After they run off, the two bullies start pushing Jesse around. He tries to run away from them, but eventually they grab him and they lock him inside of a mausoleum, and the two bullies return back to the sewer, to the tunnel in the sewer where the Easter egg was. Once they get in there, they start screwing around with the keypad that's on the side of the Easter egg, and they wind up cracking the code on this thing, well, cracking a code on this thing, and it releases the gas from inside of that tank out into the atmosphere.
A secret that will be carried to the grave.
I don't know how many of you have seen Return of the Living Dead Part 1, but if you have, you will know breathing that gas is not such a good idea. So not only did these two bullies breathe in this gas, they released it out into the atmosphere. So the gas leaves the tunnel that they're in, goes out into the atmosphere, and also, very much like the first movie, it begins to rain. And as it's raining, it is pushing that gas into the ground and it is absorbing into the soil. And it just so happens that there's a graveyard in this movie too. So because the soil has absorbed this gas, the bodies are starting to come out of the ground. And another thing, the gas has made its way into the mausoleum where Jesse is. So while Jesse's in this mausoleum, he comes across two other dudes, Ed and Joey. And if you have seen Return of the Living Dead Part 1, you will recognize that these are the same two actors that played Freddy and Frank in Part 1. Now they're playing Ed and Joey in Part 2. So Freddy and Frank, as well as Ed and Joey, are portrayed by James Karen and Tom Matthews. And I actually kind of get a kick out of it that they brought those two guys back to play these two new characters. It's probably my favorite thing about this movie. So Ed and Joey are in this mausoleum because they're trying to rob the joint. They're opening up caskets, they're stealing necklaces, they're stealing jewelry, but what they're really in there looking for are human heads that they can sell. Yeah, there's people out there that'll buy those. So after Jesse and Ed and Joey are in this mausoleum and they see each other, a body sits up in one of these caskets and starts looking around. Needless to say, these guys wind up flipping out. And Jesse does manage to make his way out of this mausoleum. He runs home. He's filthy. He runs into the house. He's trying to tell his sister, explain to her what exactly is going on, but she's having no part of it. And she just tells Jesse to go to his room and do his homework. So now you got Ed and you got Joey and you have Joey's girlfriend Brenda, who is actually sitting in the truck waiting for these guys to get done robbing this mausoleum. These three have sort of followed Jesse back to his neighborhood, and now they're trying to get into the house. They basically forced their way into the house. So now you have Jesse, Jesse's sister, the cable guy, Ed, Joey, and Brenda all inside of Jesse's house. So now everybody in our group is trying to get out of the house. They're trying to get out of this house because now zombies know they're in the house and the zombies are trying to get in the house. So what the goal is to make it over to a neighbor's house and either get his car to get away or get his phone to call for help, or both. Preferably both. And that is it. I am not going to spoil any more of this movie for you. If you have not seen Return of the Living Dead Part 2, I'm not going to be the one that spoils it for you. Like I said a little while ago, I would say that James Karen and Tom Matthews returning for this movie. They played Freddie and Frank in the first movie. They played Ed and Joey in this movie. I think that that's kind of amusing that the writer and director decided to call those two guys back. They both died in the first movie, so I thought it was funny to bring them back as two fresh characters in the second movie. And in this movie, they were just as silly and goofy and moronic as they were in the first movie. They repeat a line that they said in the first movie as well. When the zombie outbreak first took place in the original movie, Freddie says to Frank, "You better watch your tongue, boy, if you'd like this job." And Freddie just yells back at him, "Like this job?" They do the same thing in this movie because Ed is the one who is leading up the grave robbing, and he brought Joey on to just basically be his assistant and give him a hand. And the same line takes place here as it did in the first movie. I thought that was kind of amusing, but that is pretty much it. Those two characters are what I liked about this movie. As a matter of fact, Joey's character even makes reference to to Ed, and he said, "I feel like I've done this before. I feel like I've done this before with you. I feel like I've been here before with you, and like this is all a bad dream." I thought that was kind of cool. I was a gigantic fan of Return of the Living Dead. I absolutely love that movie. It holds a very special place in my heart. But this movie, on the other hand, I did not really care for this movie. I saw this movie in the movie theater the year that it came out when it was released, and I didn't really care for it then. And I kind of forgot how much I really did not like this movie back then until I just watched it again the other day, and I think I even like it less now. I thought that the story was silly. I thought that the settings did not look good. I thought the zombies themselves looked absolutely horrendous. It's so apparent that these are guys in rubber masks, all the way down to the point where you can see eye holes and masks on these zombies. The effects in this movie are they're non-existent. I can't even call them effects. They're just terrible. They're guys wearing masks. I thought that was terrible. Like I said, the acting was terrible. The directing was terrible. The setting was terrible, and the story was terrible. I did not like this movie at all. Well, maybe just a little bit. I did like Ed and Joey. If you guys have seen enough of my videos, you have to know by now that in order for me to say that a movie is not good, it's got to be a pretty bad movie. This was a really bad movie. If you're a fan of the original Return of the Living Dead, let that have no bearing on your decision here. Don't watch this movie. This movie is god-awful. Yeah. If it's such a bad movie, why did you buy it? Who doesn't own a few bad movies? All right, folks, that is going to do it for my review of Return of the Living Dead. The hell was that? All right, folks, that is going to do it for my that's going to do it for my review of Return of the Living Dead Part 2. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to go on this journey with me. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, have a kick-ass day, and thank you for watching. If you didn't think this movie sucked, let me know in the comment section below as to why.